From Cowork, 591 in beautiful downtown Jesup, Iowa. This is the birthplace of the Bohemian Resistance. We are the Bohemian Underground with producer Blake Tempus over there and co-host Dale Rueber right there. I'm Jim Gillespie, and this is the Jesup News for October 27th, 2025. We're sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. The Pharaohs are kind sponsors of this podcast. Include them at your wedding, graduation, or festival plans. Don't wait. Their schedule's filling up for 2026. They are sponsoring a traveling art show for the Steve Brown Art Center. Thanks to them for including the traveling art show. Another sponsor who's been with us since the Steve Brown Art Center, is it Inception?
Conception, yeah.
Okay. Conceived is Derek's Repair, located in Jesup, Iowa. Contact Derek and Marty for your car repair needs. Also check out the podcast, What Is Up with our friend Bubba Seaman. I spoke recently with Bubba. Bubba's doing well. He's always got that smile. You can tell he's always smiling by the way he talks on the phone.
Okay.
So, Dale, I understand you've got breaking news from the shores of Michigan.
It's a little old news now, but I got it. We have far-flung listeners all over the world.
Yes.
And I got to send an article from the Northern Express, which is Northern Michigan's best-loved newspaper.
From the shores of Lake Michigan.
Yes, and they sent this to me saying that we saw this in the News of the Weird, and it concerned Jesup, Iowa, so we thought maybe you could use it in your podcast.
What about?
I said, yes, I certainly can. So,
the News of the Weird.
Our good friends Don and Sue in Northport, Michigan, so thanks for sending this along. And the newspaper, the title of their little paragraph is called Fun Suckers. That'll grab your attention right away.
Fun Suckers.
Okay. So it's old news, and I don't remember this being around, but I must have missed it. Okay. If you're planning to do a little carousing this homecoming season in Jesup, Iowa, think again. The Jesup Police Department has issued a warning that TPing is banned, and anyone doing it will face legal charges. KCRG-TV reported on September 17 that police have labeled the prank harassment and have identified multiple people whom they are investigating for trespassing, criminal mischief, illegal dumping, and disorderly conduct. So we have to do some investigative reporting now to find out if anybody was ever arrested or charged with anything.
If it was a minor, then they can't tell us.
All right, but they could tell us that somebody was picked up, but I think they could tell us. But yeah, so we probably won't find out locally, but maybe one of our listeners that gets a newspaper several states away will send it to us if they pick up on that. But I thought that was very interesting that Jesup made the Northern Michigan newspaper.
As long as we as a population in Jesup can laugh at that, because I'm sure people are laughing at us, and all we can do is laugh with them.
We took a big hit. I was on the library board, and a person had checked out some movies. This is many years ago when those movies were expensive. So, and never returned them, and so that was theft. And so a warrant was put out. And so I don't know if it was 2 years later, the police stopped somebody that was from Missouri in western Iowa, and they ran their license and their plates and found out there was a warrant out for their arrest in Jesup, Iowa. So they arrested him. And then the next day, I guess the kid's mother was right down to the library saying, okay, what'll it take to get this to go away? She found some of the movies, and then she paid for the rest of them. And so, but at going around to my relatives in different parts of the state and in the country, actually, would take quite a hit about my library was a tough library. Bring your stuff back. You might go to jail. So those things happen every now and then.
That is a classic. Yeah. That's wonderful. I never heard about that, Dale.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about this underground movement of toilet paper in our community.
Okay.
I doubt if Martin Luther King Jr. would have used that activity, but recently, I'm sure our listeners heard of, or the majority of our listeners heard of, the No Kings protest. Mm-hmm. There were some. Here are some statistics from the No Kings protest. I went to the one over in Independence. About 200 people, good numbers. Mm-hmm. Older people. my age. There were a few people Blake's age and in high school, but the majority were our age, Dale. The estimated total turnout was about 7 million people across the United States. There were 2,700 demonstrations nationwide. New York City alone, over 100,000 participants across the 5 boroughs. The Tri-Cities in Nebraska, over 200 attendees in Hastings, with additional events in Grand Island and Kearney. Events occurred in every U.S. state, including major cities like Washington, D.C., New York City, Chicago, Miami, and Los Angeles. Demonstrations also took place near Mar-a-Lago, President Trump's Florida residence, and that may be his resistance too. The themes and messages. Protesters rallied against perceived authoritarianism and abuses of power by President Trump's administration. Common slogans included democracy and not monarchy. The Constitution is not optional. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Donald Trump has got to go, was chanted at ours. The protests were designed to be nonviolent, foster civic engagement. Some of them were supported by the ACLU and the 50501 movement, founded in part by the Open Society Foundation, which provided a $3 million grant to support the logistics and communications. I looked around for my check because the right-wing media had been saying that George Soros was paying out people. There was no pay table.
Oh, all right.
I did not get a check there.
That's one of their fallback. Is that somebody's paying them to be they're paid protesters.
I wasn't paid. Dang it.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for that check in the mail. These protests marked
well, they'll probably get rid of the post office just so you can't get your money.
They might. These protests marked a powerful movement, a moment of collective action, blending grassroots energy with national coordination. I really like the energy of it, and it was a beautiful Saturday morning at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
The weather was warm. People were happy to be there. People of like mind were there, and I enjoyed just being with the people. Mm-hmm. Had great conversations, learned about, talked about things, and one of the leaders came up before and said, "Now there's going to be people that drive by and do." Give us a bird and yell things at you. Mm-hmm. Don't respond negatively. Don't fight. Don't get angry. Just live with it. Mm-hmm. And actually, I only saw one unofficial one ranking that probably wasn't what they meant when he said I was number one.
Yes.
But I only saw one of those. The rest were very kind. The police drove by a couple times. It was held on the courthouse lawn. The argument, the right wing argues that President Trump isn't trying to be king. Today in the news, the left is arguing, well, they're tearing down part of the White House.
Yeah. And I did not believe that one person could decide that they're going to tear down part of the White House. You think you'd have to run that by somebody, some kind of preservation committee or the Congress or somebody, because and then they showed he wants to build this ballroom, which looks like Versailles. If you see the picture of it, it's like in France. It's going to. I think they said the White House is like 55,000 square feet, and this ballroom is going to be more than twice that.
Yeah.
And the guy said, the White House is going to look very small compared to this ballroom that's hanging off on the side there. Trump likes gold stuff, and so it's the picture they showed, the drawing, the artist concept was all the gold inlaid, this and that. But I even at our church, somebody will see something and say, well, this would look nice hanging on the wall in the church. And we said, well, okay, that's fine, but you need to run it. We have a committee to make sure that we don't just have a bunch of haphazard things. And I would think that the White House, which is a national treasure and known as the people's house, that more than one person would have to, because like they talk about the Truman balcony, but I don't think Truman designed the balcony and commissioned it. I think he was president when they put it on, so therefore it was called the Truman balcony. But I just think that's horrible that that one person do that kind of work and tear down that. I don't know. It just looks wrong.
It's being done at the cost of, I believe, $250 million.
Yeah, And there's article about people that, we had this organization that helped people overseas with food and medicine, and then, we cut all those programs. And there are people that immediately started dying. And there are people that are starving to death over there that used to get aid. And I'd much rather be known as a country that helped other people that kind of life-giving aid than somebody that's got a ballroom in Washington, D.C. that I certainly will never probably be in. 99% of the American population will never be in there.
You're right. You're right. Less than 1% will ever be in there.
Yeah. I don't like it when they can do it, that kind of thing.
Back to the No Kings protest. They tried to use the core of Martin Luther King's civil disobedience. I used to teach these to my students years ago. I don't know if Blake will remember these or not, but they argued nonviolence is a moral imperative. No way, and a lot of this was stole not only from Gandhi, but from Tolstoy and Thoreau. It started with Thoreau being arrested for not paying his poll tax.
Yeah.
But nonviolence is a moral imperative. The second one is the higher law over the unjust law.
And you can see when they use from those different people, somebody had read some books. Mm-hmm. And I get the impression that these days nobody on that side reads anything or does any studying to find out the history of things or how things could be done in a better way. They just go with the emotional response to them is always, lock them up, take them to court, blow them up, that sort of thing. So I just wish sometime high officials in the Republican Party would say, well, I was reading this the other day, right, and it gave me this idea or something, but they never mention anything. I mean, they asked one guy his favorite verse from the Bible. He had no idea what, the impression was he had never read it,
Yeah.
And which is neither here nor there as far as whether you read the Bible or not, but it's kind of a interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
The third thing that King pushed was love as a transformative force, meaning the Christian ethics or Christian teachings of love your brother or love your brothers or unconditional love. A lot of protesters resist evil without hating the evildoer. You can hate the act without hating the person.
And that's Christianity.
Yes. Constructive tension is the fourth one, creating through peaceful protest to force negotiation. So you make tension through the protest. And that's one of the things that the No King protest was constructive tension.
But you let them know that somebody's watching.
The fifth one is a willingness to accept punishment, meaning just because somebody strikes you doesn't mean you strike back. Mm-hmm. The sixth one is faith in redemption and reconciliation. King's ultimate goal was not to defeat opponents, but to win their understanding and their friendship.
That striking, they were interviewing a Jewish man, and the guy referred to something like, well, you're probably one of those, turn the other cheek guys. And he said, no, he says, that's a Christian concept. That's not a Jewish concept. We believe if someone strikes you and you don't get back at them, then you're condoning sin. And you can tell by the way Israel reacts to attacks compared to a lot of other people. But they're not really big on turning the other cheek.
Retribution is the way that Israel strikes. Yeah, you're right. And the last one is democratic accountability, to hold America accountable for its founding ideals, liberty, equality, and justice for all. And like you talked about, the new ballroom, who's accountable for that? So King's actions were rooted in a deep love for his country and his potential. I had a college professor that argued there were basically only three geniuses that ever walked the earth: Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., and Gandhi was his argument.
Sure.
There could be arguments for
others too. But you look at Lincoln; he had ideas and he saw things ahead that other people were not even looking for at that time, and made all the difference to millions of people. And so it's quite a legacy to have.
He did. I hadn't been to a protest since I was right out of college. Mm-hmm. It was my last protest, and I'm sure some of those same people were the ones at that protest as well.
They probably got their beaded shirts out. And were they peasant shirts? Is that what they had, or was that before or after? I don't know, but yeah, that would have been fun.
It is, and that, excuse me, that was the argument of people like Sean Hannity and your friend Mark Levine. Yeah. Levine said that it was just a bunch of old hippies together. What it was, the people that cared about their country and at least were strong enough to, at least cared enough to get together.
Yeah.
So, we used to talk about, what are you willing to die for? Is there anything that you're willing to protest, that you're willing to die for in your country? And I think our government up to this point has done a pretty good job of getting us in that position of, we don't have to protest things like that. We don't have to die for things like that.
Sure.
In our country.
Yeah.
Although I'm willing to speak about one when we come back after this next network hard out. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center podcast network. I'm here with Blake Tempus and Dale Rueber. I'm Jim Gillespie, and we will be right back after this word. This is Steve Brown Arts Center podcast network. We're back. We're talking about food. Three guys that love food a lot. We should have like a commissary here.
You think so? Yeah. Well, I think we should have all the food joints in Jesup bring samples in, and we could have a tasting thing.
We could do that.
Yeah. Well, except what? What's the problem with that?
Well, we could have Quick Star and Casey's and Joe's Pizza. We could do that.
I guess, but that's not the same as getting a cooked meal. I wanted to tell you something real quick about, we're school teachers. If you remember last week, that system went out, it was the AWS cloud services.
Yes.
And everything wouldn't work. Well, my grandson in Johnston, Graham Harris, went to school that day, and apparently his school uses that service, and so they couldn't do anything all day long because it was blacked out. They do everything on computers, homework and everything. But he said the teachers were scrambling through cupboards and everything, trying to find books that they used to use to teach their classes so they'd be able to present material to the kids that day. I thought, okay, good for them. But I thought, well, that was really interesting.
It is.
I thought it was in like Seattle or someplace. Is that where this place is at? But how it affected schools all across the country that are so heavy into tech stuff that if the tech stuff's not there, they have trouble doing their job that day. So he said it was one of the easiest school days he'd had in a long, long time.
Interesting.
But he said it was very interesting watching the teachers scrambling to find these books. They knew they had them somewhere, but they weren't sure where they were, so they could teach their lesson that day. So I thought that was fun.
That is. Dale, what do you have about, did I see something about the Gaza peace plan over there?
Yeah, well, I was going to read the whole thing, but this is from an admiral, James Stavridis, and he was the U.S. European commander from 2009 to 2013.
Okay.
And the quote, he said, "I often went to Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip. It was a daunting part of my assignment, and I sought advice from former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, who was well-renowned as a negotiator and a Secretary of State and this sort of thing. And Kissinger said, the key to understanding the Middle East, he said, is understanding and accepting that every solution is merely the admission ticket to the next problem." And so I thought, well, these people who think that everything is solved over there need to read this quote, that it's just a ticket to open up the next problem because, again, this is a problem. Well, all the problems over there are thousands of years old, are based in historical fact, and thinking that you're going to solve them with one agreement or one deal they're already having trouble with it. So
I talked to one of my spies in the Middle East here after last week's show, and they were saying the over and under days was 1 before Israel would bomb.
Yeah, and they did, right?
Yeah. And they
20-some people killed. So it's quite the thing. I don't know how they do it.
It is. I mean, there is. Unfortunately, there's no way out. There's no way out of it, and it's just not in the news. I mean, there's been a lot of wars in our lifetimes, Dale.
Oh yeah.
In Gaza and Israel there, and there's just no way out of that because there's the extreme right and there's the extreme left, and so.
Well, the World Series is starting on Friday, so I sent a note to my son and my grandson, big baseball fans,
right?
And I said, help me out here, fellas. This year in the series, are we rooting for the team from Canada or the team from Japan? And my son is usually, a positive, uplifting person. He said, Canada. The humble Japanese players have deferred all their salaries till 25 years in the future, which allows the Dodgers to add more players now. They're fielding a team worth $1 billion in salary, but only paying them a fraction of that money. They're just cheaters. So he let it be known very plainly that he does not think anybody should be rooting for the Dodgers. So interesting how it turns out.
The Game 7, Game 7 of the Dodgers series was amazing. Ohtani hit 3 homers and struck out 10.
Yeah.
Dale, we'll never see that in our lifetime again.
I don't think so. I'm always amazed that they'll let him do it, because for a long time you either pitched or you were in the field. They would not, but this guy was so good that they had to let him just for their own benefit, use all his potential. And so it's a pretty amazing thing.
It is, and I like that. I like is it Vladimir Guerrero, the guy from? Mm-hmm. I mean, he doesn't strike out every time, and he hits the ball hard almost every time.
Yeah. They told him because he's a junior. His dad played.
Yeah,
and so as a little kid, he was large, and he would be with his dad in the locker room or out on the field and that sort of thing, and all the kidding but then compliments too that he got from major league players when just basically a child,
right?
That helped him do the work necessary to become a major league baseball player.
So that starts Friday night.
Yeah.
So you decided to cheer for the Canadians.
I'm going to cheer for the Canadians. Yep.
So who's going to win, Dale?
Well, it'd be tough to beat the Dodgers. I mean, they are an excellent team, and I like Freeman. I think he's an excellent ball player and always comes up big. It seems like even when he played for Atlanta. So I think he's an excellent player, and they've got 3 or 4 guys on there that are just superstars of the highest degree, and so they're going to be very tough to beat. But it doesn't mean it can't happen.
So what's the score of games in your mind, Dale?
Oh, I would say they'll probably win. I will say it's 4 games to 2. They'll win in 6 games.
I think it goes 4-0.
4-0? Okay.
4-0.
Yeah.
Because right now the Dodgers have all their pitchers healthy, I believe, and they could have went without pitching Ohtani the other night.
Yeah.
Still won. So the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, I see that we had at Jesup, speaking of sports, we had the cross-country champion in girls and boys.
Was that right?
Yeah.
For the Cedar League?
For the North Iowa Cedar League, yep.
Okay.
John Bergman's daughter was the girls champion, and Landon Roberts was the boys champion.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is, I believe, is it tomorrow? It might be, no, it's next Friday, our districts.
Yeah, I have that down here.
Yeah.
The 31st is state cross country at Fort Dodge.
Oh, state is the 31st.
31st,
So then districts would be today or tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the week of the 27th.
Yeah.
So, with the volleyball regional tournament and then state cross country on the 31st. And there's state cheerleading, too. I didn't know they had that. So and that's going to be at Jesup, it sounded like, looks like on the calendar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just says state cheerleading at that's at Jesup Athletic Center, the JAC.
Yeah.
At the open end, I didn't know what that meant. from 8 in the morning till 8 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Or 8 in the evening. And so so that's what it looked like to me on looking at the school calendar.
That is a coup that Sarah was, that was one of our former guests, Sarah Curry, formerly Sarah Curry, Sarah Nolan now, that landed that in Jesup, thanks to athletic director Joe Smines, I'm sure, for landing that.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Quite the deal.
Yeah.
That coming up. I got one more. I have one more thing on my phone that we talked last week about getting rid of the pennies,
right?
And about how much it costs to make a penny, how much it costs to make a nickel,
right?
Well, my son-in-law Kevin Harris was at the Mint this last summer, part of their family vacation in Denver, and he said the Mint's programs are self-sustaining and operate at no cost to the taxpayers. And he said in the brochure they got, in 2024, $50 million profit was put into the U.S. Treasury from the Mint.
Wow.
And they make it, and this is the book of the annual report, but they have all these sets that they, like special coins and collectors things and this sort of thing. So even though they pay more to make pennies and nickels, they more than make up for it with these other things that they mint. And so they actually, when you hear politicians talk about, the pennies costing us all this money and this sort of thing, but actually the Mint is making us money. It's nothing where you have to cut. And so I thought we should mention that since we talked about those pennies and nickels last time. Well, here's a nice set. Look at that. Liberty. See, like coins like that for collectors.
Show the camera.
Yeah.
Hold it up to the camera.
I don't know if you can see it or not, but
there you go, Dale or Blake. I'm sure will focus
zooming
that
right
in.
Yeah. So
it's cool.
Yeah. So actually, the Mints, we don't have to worry about the Mint. They're making us money.
I'm surprised, as much travel as you've done, you've never been to the Mint, Dale.
Well, you just do what you can do, Jim.
Oh, I understand. No attack.
I understand. Yeah, okay. But and a lot of my traveling was done with, Uncle Sam sent me. He told me where to go and who to see, and so
yes,
I on my own. I have been places, and I didn't do any traveling. My wife asked me when we were, I was in my 20s. So, my favorite vacation as a child. I said, well, one day we drove over to Guttenberg and watched the big boats go through the locks. That's the only one I can remember.
Wow.
I think that's the only one we ever did. So we did not travel a lot.
I was blessed.
Her family was always amazed the first time I met them because they live, 25 miles from Des Moines in Perry. Yeah. And I said, well, I never had been in Des Moines until I had to go to take my pre-induction physical when I was 18 years old. They couldn't believe that either because they went to Des Moines 4 times a week just to get a sandwich or something, So it was kind of interesting. So anyway, I've been in Denver at the airport, and you remember Missy Byer?
Yep.
She lives in the Denver area, and on we call it our long trip, we stopped there on the way home and saw her. She was like a district manager for Victoria's Secret stores.
Yeah.
And so the only time we were coming through, and so we went into this Victoria's Secret store to talk with her. And I was the only man in there and very uncomfortable standing there amongst the underwear talking to Missy, a little girl I'd known all her since she was a baby, So, but, oh, yeah. So that was my Denver, and I had been at the Denver airport before.
Yes.
And so, as the Denver airport cost billions of dollars. And I was there within 2 years after it had opened, waiting for a plane, and I noticed that the handrail in front of me was held together with duct tape, and I thought, okay, this doesn't look right at all. But I also saw something as I was in the Space Needle in Seattle. They had a railing there that was duct taped together. I said, man alive, this is a crazy world we live in. So.
Yeah, it is. So, Dale, I've got a couple of fun questions for you.
Okay,
here.
and I have one more thing later on I'd like to talk about, so that's
all right.
fine. But,
all right. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So, Dale, here you go. All
right.
Here's a question. At long last, someone invents the Dream VCR. This machine allows you to tape an entire evening's worth of your own dreams, which you can then watch at your own leisure. However, the inventor of the Dream VCR will only allow you to use this device if you agree to a strange caveat. I love that word, caveat.
Caveat, yeah. Okay.
When you watch your dreams, you must do so with your family and your closest friends in the same room.
Okay.
They get to watch your dreams along with you.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree to this, you can't use the dream VCR.
Okay, well.
Would you still use the machine?
No, I would not. I would not be able to, because a lot of my dreams, I'm running around naked. Sometimes honestly, sometimes I'm in that old school trying to find my classroom and I can't find it anywhere, and nobody seems to notice anything wrong. And finally, I just have to tell myself, this is a dream. You can wake up and get out of this dilemma. And I do that, and I wake up, and then that's how I get out of it. But
You still have those.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you couldn't do that.
I would not want to do that, and no one would want to watch it either, I suppose. But yeah, I have some strange dreams.
Okay.
And I have historic dreams. Like I can have a dream say, I had this dream 25 years ago. It's almost exactly the same. Why would that be? Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
I think that's very strange. But I recognize it.
I still have those dreams.
Do you have where you
yeah.
recognize the dream that you had this dream before?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad.
All right.
But a lot of teachers I've talked to have dreams about being in school, even though they've been retired for 20 years or something, have dreams about something in school. And so I think that's very interesting.
Here's the next question for you.
Okay.
Let us assume.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This machine does not exist, I'm assuming.
No.
It's just okay,
Yeah.
all right, because I thought that'd
Okay.
be scary. Okay, go ahead.
So let us assume a fully grown, completely healthy Clydesdale horse has his hoof shackled to the ground while his head is held in a place with a thick rope. He is conscious and standing upright, but completely immobile. And let us assume that for some reason every political prisoner on earth, as cited by Amnesty International, will be released from captivity if you can kick this horse to death in less than 20 minutes. You are allowed to wear steel-toed boots. Yeah. Would you attempt to do this?
I don't think I would, no. I don't think
Leave him in prison.
Yep.
There you go.
I don't think I'd be able to do that. Those are the nicest, gentlest horses you ever want to meet, and so yeah, that would be a tough one. But I would not be able to do that.
All right. Here's the last one.
Okay.
As we're zooming in on a hard net workout.
Okay.
Defying all expectations, a group of Scottish marine biologists capture a live Loch Ness monster.
All right. Oh, okay.
In an almost unbelievable coincidence, a bear hunter in the Pacific Northwest shoots a Sasquatch in the thigh, thereby allowing zoologists to take the furry monster into captivity.
Okay.
These events happen on the same afternoon.
Okay.
That evening, the president announces he may have thyroid cancer and will undergo a biopsy later that week. You are the front page editor of the New York Times. What do you play as the biggest story? You have the Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster, or the president with thyroid cancer.
Yeah. I would have to lead with the president with thyroid cancer.
Okay. There is a cry out there right now that President Trump is sick and he's hiding.
Yeah, they show patches on his hand and his swollen ankles, and that they have taken close-ups, of him, and so there's speculation about. And also, he had the second physical.
Yeah.
This year, and I don't think they'd ever gave him an official report on that I know of.
The man is 80 years old. He's going to have health problems.
Oh, sure, he is. Yeah.
And his bless his heart, his diet is not good.
Yeah.
So his feet are going to swell, or his ankles are going to swell.
Like too much salt or something.
Yeah. He is. I mean,
usually I think it's my experience that when you retain fluid like that, where you get swelling, a lot of that relates to your heart not pumping efficiently.
Right.
And so I don't know if that's medically correct or not, but that's just friends and relatives of mine who had this problem with retaining fluid. It led back to problems with the heart, that the heart was not able to pump like it needed to. So, I think I'd have to go with the president, because those other things are interesting. I thought you were going to ask, what would I do with those things? And I thought, oh man, can you just let them go, or that? So actually, your question wasn't as hard as I was afraid it was going to be, because I don't know what I would do with those things if somebody did catch them.
This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be right back. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We're back. So we talked about in the first two halves of the show about the No Kings protests and what civil disobedience and what you were to die for. And as we close in on the fall here, deer season is coming upon us. Bow season's already been going.
Yeah.
Shotgun season's coming.
And they have a couple of days, don't they? Where that means they have a couple of days where younger guys get a head start.
Yeah, they
for
do.
Kids. Yeah,
they do.
That's good.
Yes, it is. There's no doubt we need a shotguns. We need shotguns in our state. Former Jesup businessman Daryl Ellis told me that there are 100,000 accidents because of deer every year in Iowa.
And he fixed cars for a living. That was so the deer was his best friend.
Yes, it was. But I am not convinced, Dale, that we need handguns, and I wanted that we need handguns, and I want to talk about that. So this is called the hollow grip of the handgun. There's a lie we've let nest in our coat pockets. It's small, metallic, and marketed as freedom, the handgun. America's favorite talisman of self-reliance has become a grotesque parody of the liberty it claims to protect. I've seen it sold in strip malls, tucked under dashboards, and passed around like a flask at a tailgate. But I've also seen what it leaves behind: blood on linoleum, silence in school hallways, and families hollowed out by a single twitch of a finger. Let it be clear, the handgun's not a tool. It's a shortcut to finality, and unlike a rifle, which demands distance and deliberation, the handgun is intimate. It's designated for close quarters, for suddenness, for a kind of violence that doesn't require thought. That's its appeal and its danger. It turns every argument, every moment of fear into potential obituary. Iowa knows this. We've buried too many sons and daughters whose only crime was being in the wrong place when someone felt threatened. Yet we keep pretending that more handguns will make us safer, that arming teachers, clerks, and churchgoers will somehow outsmart chaos. It just multiplies the chances that a bad day becomes a tragedy. The gun lobby loves to wrap handguns in a flag, as if the founder envisioned a nation where every citizen carried a concealed weapon to the grocery store. They didn't. They spoke of militias or a collective defense, not the lone vigilantes with semi-automatics tucked into their waistbands. The Second Amendment has been twisted into a shield for paranoia, and handguns are its most convenient lie. I'm not calling for confiscation. Don't take that wrong. I'm calling for honesty, for the courage to admit that handguns are not making us freer. They're making us fearful. They don't protect our homes so much as they endanger them. They don't empower women walking alone at night. They put them at a greater risk of domestic homicide. They don't stop crime. They escalate it. We need fewer handguns, not more. Fewer myths about good guys with guns. Fewer politicians who treat gun ownership like a sacrament. And more conversations about what real safety looks like. Community, trust, mental health care, and the kind of courage that doesn't come from a trigger. I'll take a neighbor with a flashlight over a stranger with a Glock. I'll take a town that talks to each other over one that arms itself against imagined threats, and I'll take the risk of vulnerability over the certainty of violence. Because of this truth, the handgun doesn't make us strong, it makes us scared. And scared people don't build communities, they barricade them. Too many young people dying from handguns.
Yeah. One report I read said if you have a handgun in your house, the percentage is very high that if you shoot someone, it'll be a family member, or you'll get shot yourself with that gun. The idea that you will shoot a criminal or stop a robbery or something is very far-fetched. Yeah, they are dangerous in your home. We hadn't talked about assault rifles, but the one, and I should have brought that paper, but the last church shooting where the guy just shot through the church window and killed a bunch of people. The shooting was like a little over 2 minutes, and they picked up 100 and some brass casings from that weapon. He was able to shoot that many shots in a little over 2 minutes, and that's where the real danger is all those bullets flying in. I don't know if you know, but he's got a piece of lead, and it's going thousands of feet per second out of muzzle velocity. And to think of that hitting some little kid in the chest, just the damage it would do, it's just heartbreaking to even think about little kids getting shot like that with those big
it is
big bullets. So.
A few announcements we have here at the Art Center. Don't forget, Annika Wall has her art collection at M's Coffee in Independence. That ends on Halloween Day, so make sure you get in. We had our last jam session till after Christmas. Former Jesup teacher and his wife, Larry Thomas, was at the last one. They brought their harmonicas.
Okay, I did not know they played harmonica.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They said they have a harmonica band out in Arizona of 24 people.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I'd go to that concert or not, but maybe I would.
We had our artist collaboration at Gedney's this past Monday. I always enjoy getting together with the artists. Don't forget the 24-hour Mustang camera sponsored by Joe's Pizza in Independence. That is still going.
Is there a couple things at Gedney's, like the first week in November?
No, don't forget November 6th. That is a change.
Yeah.
That is a change. November 6th, we are showing Sophia Brownson. We are showing Lily Johnson. We are showing Pat McIntosh. And we are showing Billy Joe Oldakowski. So those 4 artists. And then that night, our podcast is highlighting our first artist in residence, Tim Kimmer, will be playing a concert. And we will be broadcasting that, and we'll talk with Tim a little bit, but the majority of that concert will be will be Tim singing. That'll be about a 45-minute, 50-minute concert. So I look forward to that.
There's a TV show called NCIS.
Yes.
And it was the Tuesday we watched it because we had to tape it because we were gone. But a man and his sister were looking at their father's coffin, not knowing what to say. And then they started singing Country Roads. And I thought, man, okay. We're not the only ones that think that's a nice song. So
that's right. That's right.
I got a couple things here for school people. The volleyball regional tournament is the 27th, and I guess I did not. It's one of those where they'll tell you later where it's going to be and when it's going to be and who you're playing. It's coming up on the 28th. The North Iowa Cedar League Middle School Choir concert is from 6 to 8 in the auditorium up here in Jesup, and so. If you want to get a look at that new auditorium and hear how well, just the acoustics are fantastic in my estimation. So that's going to be the 28th, the 6 through 8, or from 6 to 8 o'clock, the conference middle school choir concert. And I'm not sure how that's run or anything, but it should be some very good music. The 29th is, again, the volleyball regional tournament. The 31st is the state cross country in Fort Dodge at 9 o'clock in the morning. And November the 1st is the state cheerleading. It's up here at Jesup. And it's from 8 in the morning till 8 in the afternoon or 8 in the evening. So that's a long time. November 14th and 15th, the fall musical starring the Tempus brothers, right? He doesn't know.
It is.
And it's The Little Mermaid. I'm not sure what that's about. Do you know what that's about? I bet it's about a little mermaid.
I bet it is.
You think so?
They're going to, I wonder, they have the ability to buy the background, the moving background and everything, and play that on their stage.
And they have a huge area to do that with. So,
yes.
We went to the Gallagher Blue Dorn, and the Waterloo Cedar Falls Symphony Orchestra was there, and they showed the second Harry Potter movie. Is it Henry?
No, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yep. You didn't respond.
I had to think about that.
Yeah. The second Harry. So they showed the movie, and then the orchestra did the music for the movie.
Okay.
And that was fantastic. And you can't believe just how well coordinated that all is. And the orchestra was just fantastic. So I would think we're big enough they could do something like that,
I wonder, Dale, if there's any silent movie theaters left in the United States.
I don't know.
I'd like to go.
But that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. I was talking to Corey Noble and she was saying I believe it's down in Boone, they have these cars built on a railroad that you can ride overlooking the scenic valley.
Yeah, you can pedal them.
Yeah.
Or, Deb and I, we tried to get that, and they were all booked up.
Yes.
Clear through the time when we could go. And so you need to get in there early.
Yeah. Corey said it's about an hour trip across and an hour trip back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
no, Deb and I, that's something we want to do yet. So the Hampton Chronicle is from Hampton, Iowa, and I got this from a lady in Liberty, Missouri.
Okay.
Who, there are several people where she lives that are Hampton natives.
Yes.
And so one of them gets the paper and they pass it around, and the last person to get it gave it to me. And it's about a Geneva, Iowa boy. Geneva's a small town up near Hampton, and this boy lives on a farm. And he is my son's nephew, this little boy, okay?
Okay.
His wife's sister lives on a farm near Geneva, and she teaches at Hampton, and her husband farms with his family. Okay. Okay. Well, this guy, and I've known about this for a while, but because we helped out with it, but they wrote this nice article and got these wonderful pictures. But after a farm accident earlier this year, 5-year-old Nolan Thompson of Geneva found himself at the University of Iowa Children's Hospital in Iowa City. While looking through photos of his hospital stay several months later, he realized something. There weren't that many farm toys at the hospital for the children, and he wanted to do something about it. So with the help of his mother, Erin, he made a sign asking for donations, which she then posted on her Facebook. Their post quickly picked up steam, and Nolan eventually raised more than $3,000 to buy new toys, and heard from numerous toy companies who wanted to donate and give him big discounts. All in all, he was able to donate $5,000 worth of toys, his mother said. On Friday, August 15th, he made the big delivery with help from his family. Tyson's, Titan Machinery, and Case IH all donated toys, while Little Buster Toys, Big Country Toys, and Van Wall Equipment gave Nolan significant discounts. More than 200 people donated, and his mother, Erin, thanks everybody for their generosity. But this little boy saw a need because he's a farm kid. I've seen him at ball games playing in the dirt with his tractors and this sort of thing. He's just reminds me of the way I played in the dirt with farm toys when I was a kid. But he's a farmer. He'll ride that combine with his dad for hours at a time, and he just, if he's not a farmer when he grows up, I don't know, nothing is right then. So, but anyway, so there's some good news. There are people still doing good things out there.
Yes.
That's great. So
yes, they are.
All right, thank you.
I was traveling for work, and I stopped to get a cup of coffee at a restaurant in Monticello, and it was late at night. It was about 9 o'clock, and I walked in, and this young man said to me, "What are you doing here in Monticello at 9 o'clock?"
Yeah, this is at night?
At night,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
At night. You know, it was him and another guy.
In the cafe?
It was a bar. But,
in the bar.
You know, it was a bar and grill is where it was. I just went in, one of the few places I could go in to get a cup of coffee. It was right across from one of my clients.
Sure.
Of course, smart me, I smarted back, well, I come to sell you a tuxedo. And now I walked into the bathroom and got my cup of coffee, and he said, "You don't know me, do you?" And I looked at it, I said, I recognized you when I came in, but I thought, no, you can't be. So he said, "Well, I'm Robert Bly. You had me in class."
Okay.
And I thought, well, Robert, I recognize you, but I didn't recognize you with a beard. You didn't have a beard when you were in high school.
Yeah.
Well, Robert and I exchanged pleasantries, and I was telling him about the Steve Brown Art Center, and he says, "I still do art, and I still have art from high school," and so I gave him my number, so I met my artist for the week.
Artist. There you go. Isn't that something?
I am still working to meet my 12 artists for next year, and I have a list. I'm building the list, so Robert is on that list, and remember, we show places like M's Coffee, and we show at Gedney's, and we show, there's talk of a coffee shop or even perhaps 2 opening in Jesup. Hopefully we can show at them. And
then the library has a case?
Yeah, the library has a case now. Right now, we are showing Glenda Trower's collection of Mort Donnelly.
Oh, okay.
Remember Glenda was a sister of Mort.
Yeah.
And she has several small pieces that we're showing, and the library, thanks to the library and a couple of CAP students, including intern Macy Masteller, that last year Macy worked with the Steve Brown Arts Center, and Macy and another student helped the library get that display case set up. They also have a display case for St. A's, the Jesup Middle School, and the Jesup High School.
Okay, that's neat.
So I'm talking to the next artist right now to follow Mort. But the Donnelly family has always been so kind in allowing us to show Mort's work. And Mort was so talented, just amazing. If you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the Steve Brown Arts Center.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@stevebrownartscenter.org and call 319-290-0241. Leave a message or talk to Dale or Blake, and they can get news to us. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. As always, our thanks goes to Kelly C. Haas and Sean Westfall and Cowork 591 for allowing us to use their studio here and for hosting us and sponsoring us. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your life, and remember that each day is about little victories.
Very good.